Today is the 29th, Monday, 2025. Very, very close to Kartik. We're coming on to Kartik strongly. So we'll begin our Adi-lila 17. Agyan timirandasya gyananjala shalakaya chakshu unmilitam jena tasmaya shri gurave namaha. Gurave Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Shwapadantikam. Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahajabi Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe. Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurana Bhartino Kalo Samarapaitam Unnata Ujjvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Haripurata Sundara Tutikatam Vasatipita Sadakridare Kandare Sparatu Vasachinandana Yam Prabhajantam Anapetyam Apetya Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tam Matayo Taravo Benedus Tam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarabindam Vajami Radam Aravinda Netram Smarami Radam Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radam Karuna Baradram Tato Mamanasti Katirna Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayalam Charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat Pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Adi-lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tadasara Shishimat, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our most beloved, Adi-lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tadasara Shishimat, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and all the acharyas in our divine Rupanuga Guru Varg and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord who are listening, all my dandavats to you. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So there was a very beautiful verse that we read at the beginning of the 14th chapter. Katachana shmite yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet vishmite vishmitam syat Shri Chaitanya namamyatam. And this is meaning that things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if somehow or other we simply remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. So, just by giving ear, by listening to this recitation of the Caitanya Caritamrta, all the activities of our lives will automatically become simplified and will automatically, very quickly have success in our lives. But if we don't listen to Caitanya Caritamrta, if we don't remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then it's saying that even easy things will become difficult. So this is the understanding that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is giving us. So on Friday, we discussed many of the early pastimes of Mahaprabhu, and particularly we were discussing the meeting of Nityananda Prabhu, and we discussed the Abhishek, and we discussed the Sat Paharya pastimes, these 21 hours when Mahaprabhu sat on the throne of Vishnu and exhibited his full Aishwarya potency to all the devotees, to introduce them to his real identity. Mahaprabhu had been living in Navadvip for 20 odd years, and no one had really realized who he was. One or two people, like we discussed the Brahmana who came, who was making his offerings, and then he revealed himself to that Brahmana, but he told that Brahmana not to share it with anybody. So his opulence was fully revealed at that time. And I was reading from the Caitanya Bhagavat about the Sat Paharya pastimes. And we were hearing the many glorifications by Mahaprabhu of the Vaishnavas in different instances. So now we come today to text 19. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vraha Avesh Haila Murari Bhavane Tanra Skande Chadi Parbu Nichali Angane. Translation. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt the ecstasy of the boar incarnation and got up on the shoulders of Murari Gupta. Thus they both danced in Murari Gupta's courtyard. Remember, Murari Gupta was actually Hanuman in Lord Ramchandra's pastimes. We've already discussed quite a bit about Murari Gupta. One day, purport, one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to cry out, Sukara, Sukara. Thus crying out for the boar incarnation of the Lord, he assumed his form as the boar incarnation and got up on the shoulders of Murari Gupta. He carried a small gadu, a small water pot with a nozzle, and thus he symbolically picked up the earth from the depths of the ocean. For this is the pastime of Lord Varaha. It's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There are two Varahadevs. There is the Varahadev in the Swayambhuva Manvantara, and there's the Varahadev manifesting in the Chakshush Manvantara. In the Swayambhuva Manvantara, Sweta Varaha manifests and dives down into the ocean to pull up Mother Earth, who's being submerged in the Garbhodak ocean. This is right in the very first day of creation. Prithivi is still submerged in the Garbhodak ocean. But then in the sixth Manvantara, in the Chakshush Manvantara, then Hiranyaksha, the younger brother of Hiranyakashipu, it's described he takes all the gold out of the planet. And because of that element that was stabilizing the planet in its orbit, it drops into the Garbhodak ocean because it's no longer being maintained. All the elements in the planet, they have the potency to maintain the delicate balance of the earth. It's just like now we're milking the ocean, the earth for so much oil. We have no realization, is this going to make the planet unstable? We don't know, but we're just bucketing out so much oil from the planet. That also might contribute to various weather patterns, etc. But anyway, the gold was mined out by Hiranyaksha and it sank again into the Garbhodak ocean. So again, Adi-Varaha manifested. This is the reddish form of Lord Varahadev. So now this pastime is very beautifully, again, just briefly, described in the Caitanya Bhagavat, in the Madhya Kand, part 1, and this is in chapter 3. So I'm going to read here, just so that we can get a taste of this Caitanya Bhagavat at the same time as our Caitanya Caritamrta, just in the early chapters. Later on, when we come into the Madhya Lila of Caitanya Caritamrta, there won't be any necessity of referring back to the Caitanya Bhagavat, because the Caitanya Bhagavat principally speaks about the pastimes in Navadvip. These are the pastimes that Vrindavan Das Thakur highlights, which are very beautiful in their own right. So this is from chapter 3 of the Adi-Kand, or Madhya Kand, part 1. So one day when the Lord heard a verse glorifying Varaha, he roared loudly and went to the house of Murari. The Lord was greatly affectionate to Murari, just as Lord Ramchandra was affectionate to Hanuman. because Murari is Hanuman. As Sri Sachinandan entered the house of Murari, Murari immediately offered him obeisances. As the Lord entered the house of Murari, he called out, "Boar, boar!" Murari Gupta was astounded and looked all around. Vishwambar then entered the Vishnu temple, wherein he saw a beautiful water pot with a spout. The Lord immediately assumed the form of Varaha, and by his own sweet will picked up the water pot with his teeth. In this form as Varaha, the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, grunted and manifested 4 hoofs. Then the Lord ordered Murari, "Offer prayers to me." Seeing this unprecedented sight, Murari became stunned. He was unable to find any words to speak. We know the description in the 3rd canto when Lord Varahadev, he manifests from Lord Brahma's nostril. And when he manifests, he grows huge in front of them all. And the rishis and the who are there meditating, the sadhus, they begin to understand this is none other than the Supreme Lord because of his effulgence. And they start to glorify the Lord then with very beautiful Vedic mantras. So Mahaprabhu is asking for the same reciprocation from Murari Gupta now. Seeing this unprecedented sight, Murari became stunned. He was unable to find any words to speak. The Lord said, "Speak up, do not be afraid. All these days you did not know that I am here." Murari trembled and humbly spoke, "O Lord, only you know your glories." Lord Ananta, who holds unlimited universes on one of his hoods, constantly glorifies you with his thousands of mouths. Yet he himself admits that he has not reached the end. Therefore, who else is capable of glorifying you? Even the Vedas, whose injunctions are followed by all, are unable to know you in full. O Lord, the unlimited universes that we see or hear about are all absorbed within the pores of your hairs. You are always full of bliss in whatever you do, so how can the Vedas know your activities? Therefore only you know yourself. Others can know you only if you reveal yourself to them. What qualification do I have to offer you prayers? Speaking in this way, Murari Gupta cried and offered obeisances to the Lord. Lord Varaha was pleased with the statements of Murari Gupta. Displaying anger towards the Vedas, the Lord spoke as follows: "The Vedas mock me by accusing me of having no hands, legs, mouth, or eyes." This is the Brahman conception from the Vedas that the impersonalists proclaim, the Mayavadis. "There is one wretch in Kashi named Prakashananda who cuts my body to pieces while teaching the Vedas." This is very interesting. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying this now, and Mahaprabhu has not even taken sannyas yet, and he hasn't gone to Varanasi. But we've already discussed in the 7th chapter of this Adi-lila, the pastime with Prakashananda. So Mahaprabhu is understanding what his future pastime is going to be. He explains the Vedas, but does not accept my form. His entire body is afflicted with leprosy, yet he does not come to his senses. My pure body is the personification of all sacrifices. Varahadev demands that sacrifice. Personalities such as Brahma and Shiva glorify its characteristics. By the touch of my body, purity is sanctified. So how can that wretch say that my body is false? O Murari Gupta, listen as I tell you the essence of all doctrines. I will disclose the confidential purport of the Vedas to you. I am Varaha, the enjoyer of all sacrifices and the essence of the Vedas. It was I who previously delivered the earth. I have incarnated to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. I will destroy the miscreants for the sake of my devotees. I cannot tolerate the oppression of my devotees. I kill the oppressor, even if he's my own son. I cut down my own son for the sake of my servant. I am not telling a lie. O Gupta, listen attentively, because Krishna does cut his own son, as Narak, who is going to describe this pastime. Narak is born from his union with Prithvi, when he's carrying Prithvi out of the Garbhodak ocean. From that touch, Narak was conceived from Prithvi, but then Narak fell into bad association. The story will come here now. When I was delivering the earth, she became pregnant by my touch. I begot a powerful son named Narak, and I personally instructed him on religious principles. My son became a great king, and he properly maintained the demigods, the twice-born, the gurus, and the devotees. By providence, he fell into bad association with Bana, and began to take pleasure in oppressing the devotees. I cannot tolerate the oppression of my servants, so I cut down my own son to protect my servants. You have served me birth after birth. Therefore, I have disclosed these truths to you. On hearing the Lord's words, Murari Gupta became overwhelmed and began to cry. In this way, the Lord revealed himself to all of his servants at each of their houses. When the servants recognized their Lord, their hearts became filled with bliss. Then they no longer feared the atheists, and they freely and loudly chanted the names of Krishna in all public places. So this is the pastime where Mahaprabhu manifests his Varahadev form to Murari Gupta. He also carries Murari. Murari carries Varahadev. So now, text 20. Tabe sukalambera kaile tandula bakshana hare nama slokere kaila arta vivavarna. Translation. After this incident, the Lord ate raw rice given by Sukalambar, brahmachari, and explained very elaborately the import of the Harinam shloka mentioned in the Brihat Naradiya Purana. Purport. Sukalambra brahmachari resided in Navadvip on the bank of the Ganges. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing in ecstasy, he approached the Lord with a begging bag containing rice. The Lord was so pleased with his devotee that he immediately snatched the bag and began to eat the raw rice. No one forbade him, and thus he finished the entire supply of rice. So this again is described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, this pastime, just to open it up a little bit. So this is described in chapter 16 of the Madhya Kand. So, seeing Sukalambara Brahmachari standing before him, Lord Sri Gaurahari bestowed his mercy on him. Now hear the topics regarding Sukalambara Brahmachari, who lived in Navadvip where the Lord appeared. He was always engaged in his occupational duties, and he was most peaceful. Although no one knew it, he was a great devotee. He would take a bag on his shoulder and go beg alms from house to house in Navadvip. He would cry while chanting the names of Krishna day and night. People thought he was a beggar and therefore could not recognize him. He was so poor that he had to beg alms to maintain himself. After begging during the day, the Brahmana offered whatever he received to Krishna and accepted his remnants. In the ecstasy of receiving Krishna's mercy, he did not know poverty. He would chant Krishna's name as he wandered from house to house. Who can recognize a recipient of Lord Chaitanya's mercy? Only one who is favored by the Lord is able. Sukalambara engaged in the devotional service of Vishnu, just as the poor Damodar did previously. Vishwambar bestowed such mercy on him that he could remain inside the house and watch the Lord dance. This is in Srivasangam. On seeing the Brahmana dance in ecstasy and his bag on his shoulder, the Lord and all the Vaishnavas laughed. As Vishwambar sat down in a mood of the Supreme Lord, Sukalambara danced, cried, and laughed with his bag on his shoulder. While watching Sukalambara, the most merciful Gauranga repeatedly called out to him, "Come, come, you are my poor servant, birth after birth, and give me everything and remain. You give me everything and remain a beggar. I always desire your foodstuffs. Even if you don't give me, I forcibly take them and eat them." So we've already discussed these pastimes with Mahaprabhu. He engages in bargaining with Sukalambara Brahmachari and always rips him off. completely. And Sukalambara becomes most frustrated. Did you forget that I forcibly ate your broken rice in Dwarka? Kamala, the goddess of fortune, caught hold of my hand. After speaking in this way, Vishwambara took a handful of uncooked rice from Sukalambara's begging bag and began eating it. Sukalambara exclaimed, "O Lord, you have ruined me. This rice is full of broken particles." The Lord replied, "I eat your broken rice, and I turn my face away from the nectar offered by non-devotees. My Lord, who is independent? The Lord, who is independent, full of ecstasy, and the life of the devotees, ate that uncooked rice. Who could stop him?" On seeing the Lord's compassion, all the devotees began to cry while holding their heads. No one knew who fell where as they cried. Everyone was overwhelmed on seeing such compassion. So these are some of the pastimes. Oh, it goes on a little bit longer. They then began to chant the glories of Krishna in great ecstasy. Everyone cried, from the children on up to the aged. So there was children present. Someone held straw between their teeth. Someone offered obeisances, and another said, "O Lord, never leave me." The pious Sukalambara rolled on the ground as the Lord of Vaikuntha happily ate that rice. The Lord said, "Listen, Sukalambara Brahmachari, I constantly enjoy pastimes in your heart. When you eat, I eat. When you walk about for begging, that is my walking. I have incarnated to distribute prema bhakti. You are my beloved servant, birth after birth. I now give you prema bhakti. Know for certain that prema bhakti is my life and soul." On hearing the benediction, Sukalambara received. All the Vaishnavas chanted Jai Jai. The servant of Lakshmi's Lord, begs from door to door. What fortunate soul can understand the mystery of such pastimes? Whatever rice Sukalambara collected for begging at 10 houses was forcibly eaten by Gaurasundara, the husband of Lakshmi. So this is the pastime of Sukalambara Brahmachari. So I'm just giving the example of how these pastimes are described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. And this is why Srila Krishna's Kaviraj is not describing extensively many of these pastimes, because as he himself said, they've already been described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. But I'm joining the two compilations together. Text 20. Tabe Sukalambara Kaile Tandula Bhaksana Harinama Soker Kare Arata Vivavarna. Yes, I read that. Okay. So now text 21. Harinama Harinama Harinameva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva Nasteva Tasteva Gatia Anyata. Translation. In this age of Kali, there is no other means for self-realization than chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name of Lord Hari. Text 22. Kaler Kale Nama Rupa Krishna Avatare Nama Hoite Hoya Sarva Jagata Nishtara. Translation. In this age of Kali, the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. Anyone who does this is certainly delivered. Text 23. Daridya lagi hare nama ukti tinavara jadaloke bujaite puna eva kara. This verse repeats the word eva, certainly, 3 times for emphasis. It is also 3 times repeats Harinam, the holy name of the Lord, just to make common people understand. It's saying that we need to hear it 3 times just to penetrate our dull tamagun consciousness. Purport. To emphasize something to an ordinary person, one may repeat it 3 times, just as one might say, "You must do this, you must do this, you must do this." Thus, the Brihan Naradiya Purana repeatedly emphasizes the chanting of the holy name so that people may take it seriously and thus free themselves from the clutches of Maya. It is our practical experience in the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world that many millions of people are factually coming to the spiritual stage of life simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly, according to the prescribed principles. So the prescribed principles are the 4 regulations. No meat eating, illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. If these 4 regulations are followed and one chants seriously under guidance of Sri Guru, then all will be fully revealed in the heart of that practitioner. So why would we not chant? Therefore, our request to all our students is that they daily chant at least 16 rounds of this Harinam Mahamantra, offenselessly, following the regulative principles. Thus, their success will be assured without a doubt. So actually, for devotees, as they're progressing, and as this Kali Yuga degrades more intensely, it's necessary for us to take more of this beverage of the holy name. 16 rounds is not really sufficient for us to make progress. 16 rounds will just kind of float above the water. If we chant more than this, we can start to seriously move forward, and we will consider ourselves serious practitioners. If you start chanting 32 rounds, it will make you feel, yes, I am now a more serious devotee. That will give you inner confidence. That will be healthy. If you chant more than that, then it's even better, of course. But why should we not chant these rounds? Why are we so engrossed in our material activities that they take away, they hijack all our time? So take seriously these words of this Caitanya Caritamrta here. Text 24. Kevala Shabde Punarapi Nishchaya Karana Jnana Yoga Tapa Karma Adi Nivarana. Translation. The use of the word Kevala only prohibits all other processes, such as the cultivation of knowledge, practice of mystic yoga, or performance of austerities and fruitive activities. We're so blessed, we don't have to do anything else except vibrate the Holy Krishna, Hare Krishna mantra. Purport. Our Krishna consciousness movement stresses the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra only, whereas those who do not know the secret of success of this age of Kali unnecessarily indulge in the cultivation of knowledge, the practice of mystic yoga, or the performance of fruitive activities or useless austerities. They are simply wasting their time and misleading their followers. When we point this out very plainly to an audience, members of opposing groups become angry at us. But according to the injunction of the Shastras, we cannot make compromises with these so-called jnanis, yogis, karmis, and tapasvis. When they say they are as good as we are, we must say that only we are good and that they are not good. There is a distinction between one who accepts the process from the scriptures and one who doesn't. The process in this age of Kali is Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva Kevalam. This is the verse we're discussing. If we take that up seriously, these are the words of the Yuga Avatar, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why should we engage in other directions of practice? Why should an intelligent man do like that? When they say they are as good as we are, we must say that only we are good and that they are not good, because they're not following the Yuga Avatar. This is not our obstinacy. It is the injunction of the Shastras. Unless you hold the golden line, the methodology described in the Shastras, where can you possibly come to in your bhakti? Unless we're following closely Shastra. If it's just going to be speculative, nothing's going to transpire in the heart. We must not deviate from the injunctions of Shastra. This is confirmed in the next verse of the Caitanya Caritamrta. Text 25. Anyataye manetare nahika nishtara nahi 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 e tina eva kara. Translation. This verse clearly states that anyone who accepts any other path cannot be delivered. This is the reason for the triple repetition nothing else, nothing else, nothing else, which emphasizes the real process of self-realization. It's so simple, but in this Kali Yuga, people become so mental and they try to figure different methodologies, but they're not going to be successful ultimately. It's the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra that brings all success. Text 26. Trinoite nichahana sada labenam apani nirbimani anya divaman. To chant the holy name always, one should be humbler than the grass in the street and devoid of all desires for personal honor, but one should offer others all respectful obeisances. Text 27. Taru sama sahishnuta Vaishnava karibe Barsana tandane kake kichuna balibe. Translation. A devotee engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord should practice forbearance like that of a tree. Even if rebuked or chastised, it should not say anything to others to retaliate. Text 28. Katile hataruyena kichuna balaya sukaye mare tabu jale na magaya. For even if one cuts a tree, it never protests, and even if it is drying up and dying, it does not ask for water. Purport. The practice of forbearance, taroriva sohishena, is very difficult, but when one actually engages in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, the quality of forbearance automatically develops. A person advanced in spiritual consciousness through the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra need not practice to develop it separately, for a devotee develops all good qualities simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra regularly. So if we take this guidance, these instructions to heart, only success will come in our lives. Text 21. E mata Vaishnava kare kichuna magiba ayachita vrita kimva sakafala kaiva. Translation. Thus, a Vaishnava should not ask anything from anyone else. If someone gives him something without being asked, he should accept it. But if nothing comes, a Vaishnava should be satisfied to eat whatever vegetables and fruits are easily available. Text 30. This is exactly like Madhavendra Puripad. He took this vow of Ayachaka Vrat. He would never ask for anything. He would only accept whatever was given to him. This is a very wonderful example. This is the seed of our line. Text 30. Sadhanama laibe yata labeta santosha etacharya kare bhakti dharma posha. One should strictly follow the principles of always chanting the holy name, and one should be satisfied with whatever he gets easily. Such devotional behavior solidly maintains one's devotional service. Text 31. Trinadapi sunichena taroriva suhishena amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. This verse comes from the lotus mouth and heart of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in the 20th chapter of the Adi-lila. The last chapter in this whole Caitanya Caritamrta is when Mahaprabhu speaks the full Shikshastikam verses. But it's preluded here by Srila Krishna's Kaviraj. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, yet is always prepared to give all respects to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. Purport. The grass is specifically mentioned in this verse because everyone tramples upon it, yet the grass never protests. This example indicates that a spiritual master or leader should not be proud of his position, being always humbler than an ordinary common man, he should go on preaching the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Text 32. Urdhav bahu kore kohan suna sarva loka nama sutra ganti para kante e shloka. Translation: raising my hands, I declare, everyone please hear me. String this verse on a thread of the holy name and wear it on your neck for continuous remembrance. Very important verse. Purport: when chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, in the beginning one may commit many offenses, which are called namabas and nam aparad. In this stage, there is no possibility of achieving perfect love of Krishna by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, one must chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra according to the principles of the above verse, Trinadapi sunichena taroriva suhishena. One should note in this connection that chanting involves the activities of the upper and lower lips as well as the tongue. All three must be engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The words Hare Krishna should be very distinctly pronounced and heard. Sometimes one mechanically produces a hissing sound instead of chanting with the proper pronunciation with the help of the lips and tongue. Chanting is very simple, but one must practice it seriously. Therefore, the author of Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, advises everyone to keep this verse always strung about his neck. Caitanya Sadahari, by following these three principles, then one is able to chant the holy name of the Lord. In that mood of complete submissiveness to the Lord, then the efficacy, the potency of the holy name will easily enter the heart. Text 33. Prabhu Agnaya Kare E Shlokere Achana Avyashe Paibateva Sri Krishna Charana. Translation: one must strictly follow the principles given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this verse. If one simply follows in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and the Goswamis, certainly he will achieve the ultimate goal of life, the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. We just simply have to keep chanting this Mahamantra. Text 34. Tabe Prabhu Srivasara Griha Nirantara Ratra Sankirtana Koile Eka Samvatsara. Translation: Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly led congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the house of Srivas Thakur every night for 1 full year. Text 35. Kapatati kirtan kore parama avesh prasandi hasite aishe napai pravesh. Translation: this ecstatic chanting was performed with the doors closed so that non-believers who came to make fun could not gain entrance. Purport: chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is open to everyone, but sometimes non-believers come to disturb the ceremony of chanting. It is indicated herein that under such circumstances the temple doors should be closed. Only bona fide chanters should be admitted, others should not. But when there are large-scale congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we keep our temples open for everyone to join. And by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this policy has given good results. So there's time, place, and circumstance. When we want to immerse ourselves in the sound vibration very significantly and deeply, we will sit with a selected group and with the doors closed and just freely immerse and dive into the holy name. If we have the doors open, etc., then atheists and non-believers will be agitated and come and disturb us. Text 36. Kirtan sunya bahir tara jwali pudimara shivasera dukatite nana yuktikara. Translation: thus the non-believers almost burned to ashes and died out of envy. To retaliate, they planned various ways to give trouble to Srivas Thakur. Text 37 and 38. Ekadina vipranama gopala chapala Prasandi Pradana Se Durmukha Vachala Bhavani Bujare Sava Samagri Lana Ratra Srivashera Dvara Stane Lepana. One night, while kirtan was going on inside Srivas Thakur's house, a Brahmana named Gopal Chapala, the chief of the non-believers, who was a talkative and very rough in his speech, placed all the paraphernalia for worship of Goddess Durga outside Srivas Thakur's door. This Brahmana, Gopal Chapala, wanted to defame Srivas Thakur by proving that he was actually a Shakta, or a worship of Bhavani, the goddess Durga, but was externally posing as a Vaishnava. In Bengal, there is perpetual competition between the devotees of goddess Kali and the devotees of Lord Krishna. Even that's going on today. We see the biggest ceremony, festival in Navadvip is Durga Puja. It's bigger than Gaur Purnima. It's a bigger festival. Millions and millions come to honor Durga Ma in Bengal today. Much bigger than Gaur Purnima. So it seems like the Shaktas have got victory. Generally, Bengalis, especially those who are meat eaters and drunkards, are very much attached to worshipping goddess Durga, Kali, Sutala, and Chandi. Such devotees, who are known as Shaktas, or worshippers of the Shakti Tattva, are always envious of the Vaishnavas. We see them in Bengal. They have massive loudspeakers on their trailers, and so many are drunk. And for many, many days, these festivals go on, just contaminating the sound atmosphere, polluting the atmosphere completely. Since Srivas Thakur was well-known and respected Vaishnava in Navadvip, Gopal Chapala wanted to reduce his prestige by bringing him down to the platform of the Shaktas. Therefore, outside Srivas Thakur's door, he placed various paraphernalia for worshipping Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, such as a red flower, that's what we call the hibiscus in the Western country, a plantain leaf, a pot of wine, and reddish sandalwood paste. In the morning, when Srivas Thakur saw all this paraphernalia in front of his door, he called for the respectable gentlemen of the neighborhood and showed them that at night he was worshipping Bhavani. So Srivas Thakur was not a duplicitous man, and he completely understood what was happening. So he called all the Brahmanas, come, look at all this paraphernalia, look at me, I am just worshipping Bhavani. Very sorry, these gentlemen, where are we? So he called for the respectable gentlemen of the neighborhood and showed them that at night he was worshipping Bhavani. Very sorry, these gentlemen called for a sweeper to cleanse the place and purify it by sprinkling water and cow dung. This incident concerning Gopal Chapala is not mentioned in the Caitanya Bhagavat. So of course none of these Brahmanas believed that Srivas Thakur was worshipping Shakti in any form. They didn't believe that. So they were not influenced by Gopal Chapala at all. In fact, the opposite. Text 39. Kalarapata uparai tuila oda fula haridra sindura ara rakta chandan tandula. Translation. On the upper portion of the plantain leaf, he placed such paraphernalia for worship of Oda Fula, turmeric, vermilion, and red sandalwood paste and rice. Text 40. Madhya Bandha Pashetare Nija Gare Gela Pratakala Shivasatahe Ta Dakila. Translation. He placed a pot of wine beside all this, and in the morning when Srivas Thakur opened his door, he saw this paraphernalia. Bada Bada Loka Shaba Anila Volaya Sabaraka Hi Srivas Hasaya Hasaya. Srivas Thakur called for all the respectable gentlemen of the neighborhood and smilingly addressed them as follows. Text 42. Nityaratreka Kari Ami Bhavani Pujana Amara Mahima Deka Brahmana Sajjana. Translation. Gentlemen, every night I worship the goddess Bhavani, since the paraphernalia for the worship is present here. Now all of you respectable Brahmins and members of the higher castes can understand my position. Purport. According to the Vedic system, there are 4 castes, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, and below them are the Panchamas, literally members of the 5th class, who are lower than the Sudras. The higher castes, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, and even the Vaishyas, were known as Brahmana Sajjanas. The Brahmanas especially were known as Sajjana, or respectable gentlemen, who guided the entire society. If there were disputes in the village, people would approach these respectable Brahmanas to settle them. Now it is very difficult to find such Brahmanas and Sajjanas, and thus every village and town is so disrupted that there is no peace and happiness anywhere. To revive a fully cultured civilization, the scientific division of society into Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras must be introduced all over the world. Unless some people are trained as Brahmanas, there cannot be peace in human society. We know that Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada had a great desire to introduce this Varnashram Dharma, but it wasn't really possible for him to do that in the way that he wanted to do it. Still, it's going on. Text 43. Tabe Shaba Shishta Loka Kara Har Har Kara Aiche Karma Heto Kaila Kon Durachara. Translation. Then all the assembled gentlemen explained, "What is this? What is this? Who has performed such mischievous activities? Who is that sinful man?" This was the reaction of all the Brahmanas. Text 44. Hadike Aniya Shaba Dura Karela Jala Gomaya Diya Se Stana Lepala. They called for a sweeper, Hadi, who threw all the items of worship far away and cleansed the place by mopping it with a mixture of water and cow dung. Purport. The men of Vedic society who engage in public sanitary activities like picking up stool and sweeping the street are called Hadis. Sometimes they are untouchable, especially when engaged in their profession. Yet such Hadis also have the right to become devotees. This is established in Bhagavad Gita 9:32, where the Lord declares, "Mam hi partha vya prashtita yahi syo papa yoni striyo vaishya tata sudras tapi yanti param gatim." O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishnavas, Sudras, can attain the supreme destination. There are many untouchables of the lower caste in India, but according to Vaishnava principles, everyone is welcome to accept this Krishna consciousness movement on the spiritual platform of life and thus be freed from trouble. Neither equality nor fraternity is possible on the material platform. When Lord Chaitanya declares Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Suhichena, he indicates that one must be above the material conception of life. When one thoroughly understands that he is not the material body, but a spiritual body, he is even humbler than a man of the lower castes, for he is spiritually elevated. Such humility, in which he thinks himself lower than the grass, is called Sunishchatva, and being more tolerant than a tree is called Sunichava, forbearance. Being situated in devotional service, not caring for the material conception of life, is called Amanitva, indifference to material respect. Yet a devotee thus situated is called Manada, for he is prepared to give honor to others without hesitation. Mahatma Gandhi started the Harijan movement to purify the untouchables, but he was a failure because he thought that one could become a Harijan, a personal associate of the Lord, through some kind of material adjustment. That is not possible unless one fully realizes that he is not the body, but is a spiritual soul, there is no question of becoming a Harijan. Those who do not follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciplic succession cannot distinguish between matter and spirit, and therefore all their ideas are but a mixed hodgepodge of problems. They are virtually lost in the bewildering network of Maya Devi. So we understand how without this Varnashram system, it can become very confusing for society when they try and mix all the classes of people together. This is not conducive for spiritual life. It's like we have today. Who are the people who are most revered in society? Are actually the Sudras, are the actors. The big actors, they are the ones who collect the money. It's someone who has a lot of money, he gets the most respect. He is the one that everyone is envious of and after. And the poorer people, those who are studying the Shastras, etc., they are not even acknowledged, basically. So therefore society has become very confusing. There is no clear line where the pure knowledge can actually manifest. It's all mixed. A hodgepodge, Prabhupada calls it. Text 45. Tine dina rahise gopala chapala sarva anga hoile kushta vahe rakta dara. After 3 days, leprosy attacked Gopal Chapala, and blood oozed from sores all over his body. Text 46. Sarvanga Vedila Kete Kate Nirvantara Ashayhera Vedana Duke Jivayaya Antara. Translation. Incessantly covered with germs and insects biting him all over his body, Gopal Chapala felt unbearable pain. His entire body burned in distress. Reminds me of the Garuda Purana. In the Garuda Purana, it's described the hellish condition for those atheists, etc. And this is the sort of condition that they get put into. Text 47. Ganga gate vrikshatale rahete vishya ekatina bale kichu prabhuke dekhiya. Translation. Since leprosy is an infectious disease, Gopal Chapala left the village to sit down on the bank of the Ganges, underneath a tree. One day, however, he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passing by and spoke to him as follows. Text 48. Grama sambande ami tomara matula bagine moi kushta vyadite hanachi vyakula. Translation. My dear nephew, I am your maternal uncle in our village relationship. Please see how greatly this attack of leprosy has afflicted me. Loka shaba urde drite tomara avatara muni bada duke mora korea udara. Translation. As an incarnation of God, you are delivering so many fallen souls. I am also a greatly unhappy fallen soul. Kindly deliver me by your mercy. Purport. It appears that although Gopal Chapala was sinful, talkative, and insulting, he nevertheless had the qualification of simplicity. Thus he believed Lord Chaitanya to be the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had come to deliver the fallen souls, and he appealed for his own deliverance, seeking the mercy of the Lord. He did not know, however, that the deliverance of the fallen does not consist of curing their bodily diseases, although it is also a fact that when a man is delivered from the material clutches, his material bodily diseases are automatically cured. Gopal Chapala simply wanted to be delivered from the bodily sufferings of leprosy, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although accepting his sincere appeal, wanted to inform him of the real cause of the suffering. Text 50. Etasuni Mahaprabhura haile shudarmana shudashvesha vale tare tarjana vachana. Translation. Hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared greatly angry, and in that angry mood he spoke some words chastising him. Text 51. Are pape bhakta dveshe tare na urdrimu koti janma e mata kaitaya kaya yaimu. Translation: O sinful person, envious of pure devotees, I shall not deliver you. Rather, I shall have you bitten by these germs for many millions of years. Purport: we should note herein that all our sufferings in this material world, especially from disease, are due to our past sinful activities. And of all our sinful activities, actions directed against a pure devotee out of sheer envy are considered extremely severe. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted Gopal Chapala to understand the cause of his suffering. Any person who disturbs a pure devotee engaged in broadcasting the holy name of the Lord is certainly punished like Gopal Chapala. This is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As we shall see, one who offends a pure devotee can never satisfy Chaitanya Mahaprabhu unless and until he sincerely regrets his offense and thus rectifies it. So this understanding of regret, remorse, is very, very important if one commits any type of offense. But if he realizes the offense and is very remorseful about it, has regret for it, akshepa, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings about it in many places. If we have remorse for this, if we regret it, then this is the beginning of the purification. This is how we can be purified. Without that regret or remorse, then how can you possibly root out the offense, the aparad? We have to root it out ourselves. It's like it describes the various aparads that Krishna comes to kill, those different demons in his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan. And Baladev Prabhu describes as this killing Pralambasura, for example. Pralambasura is representing sex life, but we have to actually purify that from ourselves. We have to have great remorse for that indulgence. We have to purify it ourselves. It's not going to be magically done. It'll be supported by the Lord and Guru and the Vaishnavas, but ultimately we have to make the decision, yes, we want to purify this anartha. Text 52. Shrivase kari letaya bhavani pujana koti janma habetara rorava patana. Translation: you have made Srivas Thakur appear to have been worshipping the goddess Bhavani. Simply for this offense, you will have to fall down into hellish life for 10 million births. Purport: there are many tantric followers who, wishing to eat meat and drink wine, practice the black art of worshipping the goddess Bhavani in a crematorium. We hear this in Jaivadhamma, right in the beginning. That person is trying to kill Brajanath. He goes to the crematorium, drinks wine, calls out for Mother Nistarini to come and kill Brajanath. Such fools who consider this Bhavani Puja to be as good as worship of Lord Krishna in devotional service. Such fools also consider this Bhavani Puja to be as good as worship of Lord Krishna in devotional service. But such abominable tantric activities performed by so-called swamis and yogis are herein condemned by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He declares that such Bhavani Puja for drinking wine and eating meat quickly plunges one into hellish life. The method of worship itself is already hellish, and its result must also be hellish and nothing more. We understand that in Bengal in particular, these tantric arts are very common. They're known, they're very popular. Because Durga Puja is very popular, so they're worshipping like that. Many rascals say that whatever way one accepts, one will ultimately reach Brahman. Yet we can see from this verse how such persons reach Brahman. Brahman spreads everywhere, but appreciation of Brahman in different objects leads to different results. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Yeyata mam prapadyante tam sataiva prajamyaham. I reward everyone according to his surrender unto me. Mayavadis certainly realize Brahman in certain aspects, but realization of Brahman in the aspect of wine, women, and meat is not the same realization of Brahman that devotees achieve by chanting, dancing, and eating prasadam. Mayavadi philosophers, being educated in paltry knowledge, think all sorts of Brahman realization. Think all sorts of Brahman realization one and the same, and do not consider varieties. But although Krishna is everywhere, by his inconceivable potency, he is simultaneously not everywhere. Thus, the Brahman realization of the Tantric cult is not the same Brahman realization of that of pure devotees. This is very important consideration. Sometimes people are thinking that by my performance of these Tantric arts, I will also reach that Brahman platform. But this is completely bogus. Unless one reaches the highest point of Brahman realization, Krishna consciousness, he is punishable. That sinful karma will just land on his head. All people except Krishna conscious devotees, all people except Krishna conscious devotees are to some proportion pasandis or demons, and thus they are punishable by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, as stated below. So this is important to appreciate, these pasandis. If you're not following Krishna, then you're following Maya. You're looking to get pleasure from Maya. Text 53. Pasandi samharite more e avatara, pasandi samhara bhakti karinu prachara. Translation: I have appeared in this incarnation to kill the demons, pasandis, and after killing them, to preach the cult of devotional service. Purport: Lord Chaitanya's mission is the same as that of Lord Krishna, which he states in Bhagavad Gita 4:7-8. Yada yada hidharmasya glani bharati bharata abhyutanam abhyutmamasya tadatmanam surjamyaham parityanaya sadhanam vinishaya chaduskritam dharma shamspakanam gaya sambhavani yuge yuge. Whatever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice of descendant of Bharat and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself, in order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I advent myself millennium after millennium. As explained here, the real purpose of an incarnation of Godhead is to kill the atheists and maintain the devotees. He does not say, like so many rascal incarnations, that atheists and devotees are on the same platform. Many people like to say like that, it's all one. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, or Lord Sri Krishna, the real personality of Godhead, does not advocate such an idea. Atheists are punishable, whereas devotees are to be protected. To maintain this principle is the mission of all avatars or incarnations. One must therefore identify an incarnation by his activities, not by popular votes or mental concoctions. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu gave protection to devotees and killed many demons in the course of his preaching work. He specifically mentioned that the Mayavadi philosophers are the greatest demons. Therefore he warned all others not to hear the Mayavad philosophy. Mayavadi basya sunile hoya sarvanasa. Simply by hearing the Mayavad interpretation of the Shastras, one is doomed. It's saying that Mahaprabhu gave protection to devotees and killed many demons in the course of his preaching work. The demons that he killed were the demons internally. He didn't kill any demons externally at all. He killed the demon in Jagai and Madai. He purified their hearts, so he killed that demon within them. He kills the Mayavad demon in Prakashananda Saraswati, those 60,000 sannyasis. This is the demon that he killed. The internal Mayavad. This is what he's killing now with us, listening, giving ear to these instructions. He's purifying the Mayavadi tendencies that we have, that we hold on to. this next one. Text 54. Ete bali ke le prabhu korite ganga snan, se papa dukkha bhage na yaya paran. After saying this, the Lord left to take his bath in the Ganges, and that sinful man did not give up his life, but continued to suffer. Purport. It appears that an offender to a Vaishnava continues to suffer and does not give up his life. We have actually seen that a great Vaishnava aparadi continuously suffered so much that it was difficult for him to move, and yet he did not die. So we'll continue tomorrow from text 55 and 56. So very ecstatic content, reading many truths Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj is sharing, particularly this day, about the glories of the holy name and the dangers of offending Vaishnavas. Very, very serious. So, Caitanya Caritamrta Ki Jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, I go Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.